Hello and welcome to today's LinkedIn Facebook Live. It's a special one today. We're doing one in an evening, which we don't normally do. I'm really excited because I'm going to be chatting with Dani McFadden from the Sleep Consultant Academy. I'm going to be talking all about what a career as a baby sleep consultant actually involves. And if you're interested, how you can get started and how Dani became involved in baby sleep consultancy as well. So we are going live this evening on Facebook and LinkedIn. If people are logging on, do let us know if you can hear us all okay. Give us a like or an emoji. Any questions, please pop them in the comments. And as always, the replay will be available on the website afterwards if you have to log off. You know, if your children wake up or whatever and you have to log off, then yeah, the replays will be available. So thank you so much, Dani, for joining us today. It's an absolute pleasure to chat with you and find out a little bit more about sleep consultancy. So,
lovely! It's a sort of, I love to shout it from the rooftops and kind of tell people about sleep consultancy because some people just know so much about it, or they've never even heard of it. And before I started in this business, I'd never even heard of it. I didn't know it existed.
Okay, so let's. To be fair, I know quite minimal. Obviously, know a bit from your advert. It's on the Investing Women job board at the moment. But if someone's watching this and they've never heard of sleep consultancy before, what is a sleep consultant and what do they do?
So everyone knows you have a little baby. Mm-hmm. And then you expect to get all the jokes of get your sleep in now because you'll never sleep again and all that kind of thing. We essentially are a team that go in and help you with sleep improvement. That's essentially it. And it can mean such a wide variety of things as to be a sleep consultant. Some people just like you to go in, have a look at the routine, have a look at the day and make recommended changes for them. Mm-hmm. Really light touch support. Or you can go all the way up into kind of fully supporting a family, virtually or in home, to actually helping get a little one. If there's a lot kind of deeper issues with sleep, help them actually work through and before we don't like sleep training as such as a term because sleep's such a natural thing, you can't really train. But what you can do is help a little one that maybe has some barriers to sleep, overcome them and start sleeping a lot better, which is huge for them developmentally and things like that. That's often the main driver from parents reaching out. But I'm always so focused on the parents too. I don't think they realise, at the beginning, just how focused they are on the little one and that piece, really how much sleep they're not getting. And until they come through the process, them realising, actually it was for them too.
Yeah, it's quite a nurturing thing, I suppose.
It is. Yeah, it's always every conversation. It's very rare that I'll have a family reach out and say, I need more sleep. It's the little one needs more sleep. That's often the driver. But we sit back and the process plays out and we know that it benefits the whole family.
And is there an age that you would start? I mean, can you do it from like newborn, or is it like you recommend you go in as a sleep consultant when a baby's maybe 3 months, 6 months?
It's really interesting. So we don't do sleep training. So if somebody wanted to do something, we were actually helping the little one connect sleep cycles and work through that until a baby is at least 5 months. 5 to 6 month mark is when we start to work on a little one. Before that, it's working out what's appropriate for a little one. So many babies are waking really frequently at that point, and it's completely normal. It's only when they get to sort of about that 6 month mark that little ones can start to sleep at least sort of 3-4 hour stretches at night, wake for a feed, or even at that age, some little ones can go the night. Mm-hmm. So we'll start to help then, but as long as it's realistic at the 5-6 month mark. If not, it's all the way up until about 6 years old. But interestingly, we actually do support families antenatally. So there's a lot in the sleep industry, safe sleep guidelines, optimal sleep environments, those kind of things. And so we actually do work with expecting parents or parents that have just brought little one home, how to kind of get started really and just laying some nice foundations. But it's a completely different approach than what you would do with a family of an older little one.
Yeah, do you know what? It's fascinating because actually you're saying this, and you know what? Like so many. I'm just thinking about my NCT friends. There were some people in the group whose baby slept really well, and then others even now when my children are at school, and I know that there's some children in the class that still wake up
Yeah,
like 5
yeah.
o'clock in the morning, which seems very, very early, and
Mhm.
struggle to sleep, and
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, and it's often that older age that they start to, when they're at school, tiredness and things like that creep in. It's when a little one's napping in the day, you've got more options, so it's quite nice. But the biggest age funny that I work with parents, or a parent reach out to me to help with the family, is either a big push at 6 months because they're kind of like, I've been doing this 6 months and I'm awake every hour,
and I'm
and
tired.
I'm kind of seeing that other babies are sleeping longer now,
Yeah,
and I need some help. But another huge push is around that 12-month mark. And the primary driver for that is that one of the parent that stayed at home with the little one typically is on a year's maternity, and they then go back to work. And what was they were doing through the night to support little one that was
yeah,
sustainable
can't do
when
doing.
they
Yeah,
were not working, is not sustainable when they go back. And that's a tough time actually to work with families, because there's a lot of pressure, because instead of having a bit longer to work with them, there's the rush that we're all really tired now and need some sleep.
yeah, and do people like contact you like the week or so before they're going back to work, and they're like, right, I'm going back to
Yeah,
work.
there's
We've got a
times
week to
like,
crack this.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And there's times that people sometimes contact me, not just work, they're expecting another baby.
All
And they
right.
say, well, the baby will be here in 2 weeks. And, I want to get
Yeah,
the little one for the night. And I'm like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
there's certain times it would have been easier, but we still support people. It just might look a little different.
Yeah. So Nicola said she so wants to champion the surviving the sleep deprivation. It's tough. And Daniela has said, my daughter is 1 year old. She still wakes up at night, and she doesn't manage to get her to sleep. Only manages to get her back to sleep when she's next to her or on her chest, which I think so many people, that's was happened to me. A lot of my baby, they like to be on you, don't they? Um, and she says she's restraining herself from breastfeeding at night. Hello, I don't know if I've lost you, Dani. Just check if I've lost her. Sorry about this. Sorry about this, everyone. Hopefully, she will be logging back on in a moment. It's so interesting. Let us know in the comments any of your experiences regarding sleep deprivation, your little ones not sleeping through the night, and how you coped and how you managed. Thanks, Daniela. Can you hear me? It's really interesting to hear about people's different experiences. And my first baby was a good sleeper. My second one, she wasn't. She was definitely the second child. Oh, it looks like she's back.
I'm back. I don't know what
You're
happened there.
back. Don't worry, that's happened to me before. Don't worry.
Absolutely. Worst case, if that happens again, I have a phone, so I'll reconnect on there. So this,
don't worry.
hopefully, it's okay.
That's all right. Yeah. So I think I was reading out Daniela's comment, and she said that her daughter is 1 year old. She still wakes up at night, and she doesn't. She can only finally get her to sleep when she's next to her on her chest, which I think that
Oh,
is a lot of people.
so I've got three boys.
Yeah.
They're 4.5, 2.5, and 12 months. And we've suffered. All my boys have suffered with reflux. So
Okay.
with a refluxy baby, I'm not sure if anyone's aware that the little one is on your chest constantly, because if you lay them down, my first one was sick. My second one had an acid reflux, so it was all in his tummy, so his little legs. It was an agony. My third baby actually wasn't as bad, but I've been there and I know, so I completely don't understand. Often, then when you try and put a refluxy baby down, when they get to about 5-6 months, the reflux goes, but they're used to sleeping here on your chest. So then you put a little refluxy baby down and they go, bah,
Yeah, they don't
because
like it.
they've got used to obviously sleeping on the chest. So We work with a lot of reflux families actually that are at the point where the reflux is gone and we're just getting the little one confident to be back in their own sleep space rather than just on the chest, because it's a long road if you going into sort of months 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 months, kind of like
It's
that.
hard. It must be comfortable on a chest though. It must be
Oh,
so
it's
comforting.
lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's hard. I think it's really hard. I know I found it personally hard because the little
Yeah.
one's snuggled and happy, and they want to be on the chest, and it's very easy to stay there, but it's often it's when you make that change that sleep consultancy kind of comes into it.
And I think as well, I suppose this is with this, I was always petrified because of the safe sleeping guidelines about
Mm.
sleeping with them. And if they fell asleep on me, then I fell asleep. It's that, and that was something that really played on my
Mm.
mind. And I don't
Yeah,
know.
and people can co-sleep. Co-sleep almost has a bit of a bad reputation. There are some really safe that co-sleep in itself is safe. But there's things that you kind of need to be very aware of. You can't have any alcohol. You
Yeah.
can't you start to take any kind of medication. This is the tricky one, the medication, because if alcohol you can control, but if you're fallen ill and you need to have some medication that is quite heavy and can be sedative, and the little one then won't sleep anywhere but the bed, that's a hard dynamic because worrying about that. So I hope often there's multiple parents and you can kind of bed share and bed hop and things like that. So that's why people do like to have the other option that they can do the bed and can do the other sleep space as well.
Yeah. Leah has said, my son didn't sleep well for 3 years and then he suddenly turned a corner. So Daniela's hope white noise would help settle him. He was also a reflux baby and she can't get him out of bed these days. Smiley
Yeah,
face.
no, and it's so true. Sometimes absolutely some little ones can just get used to it's just developmental, and age can change. I mean, we work up with little ones up to about 6. So that doesn't happen for all little ones. And then it can start to continue, and then you make a change, or some little ones just drop it themselves.
Yeah.
With age,
So how did you get introduced to sleep consultancy? Was it because of your babies not sleeping, because of the reflux? Or?
Yeah, and this is a really hard conversation for me to have at the time. So I actually lost a baby before I had my eldest, and I'd had a miscarriage, and with my first son, his name's Teddy, I held him. I mean, that's what I needed to do, and I basically, the reflux as well. He was quite a sticky baby, but I mean, he basically lived. I didn't really put him down. He was in the carrier on me constantly. And then it got to again, this was the 6-month age, I guess. Is I think there's only so long you can kind of have sleep deprivation, but he slept on me a lot in the room. I was very nervous around SIDS, co-sleeping.
Yeah.
I didn't know enough about it then, so I often used to sit in his feeding chair, with him, and then trying to put him in when he could. And it got to a point. It was actually my husband that reached out to someone because I'd got to a point where I think I was heading for postnatal depression. I was just not having enough sleep. And it took Chris to kind of look in and say, you're ready now to let him have some sleep in the cot. But now he doesn't obviously want to sleep in the cot. And somebody came in and helped us. And to say it changed my life sounds very dramatic, but it did. Within a couple of weeks, we had a little baby that was completely comfortable sleeping by themselves. I was sleeping, because Teddy was actually quite low birth weight, he was sort of third percentile, so he dropped his milk in the night quite early. Sometimes the smaller babies actually do. They're not such milk monsters. My third baby was £10.10, and he did not drop his milk.
Gosh.
Yeah. And it was the best thing that we did as a family. And my husband, true to I jest being a man, said it was amazing, but I could do this better. There were so many lovely things we did with this particular sleep consultant, and it was great, but the support wasn't as much as we would have liked, and the follow-up wasn't as much as we'd liked, and actually some of the training we took it
What, that she gave to you as a parent, you mean?
Yeah, the training program, and it was effective, but there was just certain things that when you reflect on a process and think that we would have preferred X, Y, Z, and kind of the Daddy Sleep Consultant was born. Chris was the only male sleep consultant in the UK, Ireland, we think Europe. I think he'd love to bold and claim the world, but we're not sure. So yeah, it was him that started it, and he started it alongside his corporate job.
Yeah.
And yeah, he particularly attracted kind of same-sex families as well,
Yeah.
single parents. There was a real interest. Not that we didn't, you can kind of cover a full diverse range, but there was, sometimes in the sleep consultant sector, you can often be, someone could be a little bit booby. Can I say that on here? All about, someone stays at home and does the feeding, and then someone else is at work and blah, blah, blah. And actually there's some family dynamics that are completely not like that at all. And him coming in with a really fresh kind of perspective of, not pushing that agenda, really attracted, a wide range of families. And it's been lovely to continue from there. So that's how he got into it. He started.
So did he do some training? I mean, how did he sort of like start?
Yeah. So this is the thing. The sleep consultancy world is not an accredited industry. It's not you don't need a qualification, you need an accreditation. So it's something that we have had a huge interest in, because we're so passionate about the industry, but there should be tighter governance and regulation around it. So Chris did an accreditation, a standalone accreditation when he first qualified, which you do remotely. And then you get your certificate and you, in theory, are ready to practice. And Chris set his business up from there. And it was, it was hard.
Because he was working, wasn't he?
He was working full time. Yeah, because this was just going to be something. It was a bit of a passion thing, really. It was just like that changed our lives, and I didn't like some of the things, and I'd like to open it up to everybody. And so yeah, it was just something he thought he would do, and it just kept getting bigger. We didn't
realize.
Was
he doing it in the evenings and stuff?
Evenings, yeah, weekends, and I'm not. We still do quite a lot of evening and weekends, just because we're with the kids and things in the day. Like it's nice. You can. That's the one thing about it. It's kind of one of the big drivers is you've got complete flexibility. So he does do days, does do evenings, does do weekends. It's whenever suits around kind of your lifestyle, really, which is quite nice. But that's what he was doing, and he was then doing all a working week, working evening and weekends, and then he said, I can't do this. Like, this has become ridiculous.
How was he finding his initial clients then? How were they learning about him?
Well, word of mouth picked up really quickly. We've used loads of different avenues, Google, social media, flyering. It was all different ways that we started to attract clients, but we made some huge mistakes. I was helping him on the kind of business side of things, and he was primarily working with the clients. And we've made some mistakes along the way and all these things, and hence how we ended up with the Sleep Consultant Academy. So the business evolved. He had a full-time job and then reduced his hours, and then very quickly completely left corporate life, and it was just him. And then he said to me after a little while, again, I've reached capacity, I can't do this. And then I did my training.
So what were you doing?
I was in corporate life too. Yeah, we were both in financial services.
Really?
And then it got so insane. We've had to take someone on an island. So we employ a lady out there too.
Yeah.
And then we were saying, actually this industry is becoming bigger and bigger. It's so mainstream now. People hire sleep consultants, and not because of huge problems. So I work with families on a whole spectrum. So families that are kind of just I guess where we were really reached a critical point and we needed change. But some people invest in us and just to help with nap transitions. Babies transition between going from 3 naps to 2 naps to 1 naps. People hire us for all different. It's very common now to have a sleep consultant come in and assist you. You can actually help.
I don't know if we've lost her again. Has anyone else lost Dani? Hopefully she will log back on her phone. I can see that you've written a comment, Daniela. You've put, I have to admit, my daughter was sleeping okay for a while because her dad started putting her down every time she got up. She learned that, and your daughter learned that you're not going to pick her up, and is going. Oh, hiya, you're back. I don't know if you know we lost you then. She might log on back on her phone. Sorry about this. I think it must be because everyone's watching TV, everyone's using their internets on an evening. I'll just send her a message. I think she must be logging back on her phone. I don't know if any of you have ever been tempted to sort of set up a side hustle or do something completely different from a corporate role or what you've normally been doing. Let me know in the comments. I always find it really, I speak to so many people that sort of start side hustles and then they, grow into something fantastic. And it's always really nice to hear the different stories and how people's businesses started. Hopefully she'll be logging back on soon. I'll send her the link again. Sorry about this. Oh, you want to try and sell your artwork, Daniela? I know somebody else that did that. I don't know. There's a podcast I listen to called the Gold Digger Podcast with Jenna Kutcher, and she started selling artwork. If you ever listen to her, and she has like $3 million business now, but I think she started just selling it on Etsy or something. She'd do it in the evening and then sell it on Etsy or equivalent, her artwork, and she's sort of grown her business from that. Hopefully she will log back on soon. Oh, here she's coming back. Aha, you there? Hey, can you hear us?
Hello, can you hear me properly?
I can hear you, yeah.
I can hear you. I don't know what is happening. So I've just come onto my phone. Oh,
Yeah.
great. Okay, can you see me? I can see
The
you.
sound, yeah, we can see you. The sound keeps breaking up a little bit, but yeah, I think it might be because it's a busy time. Maybe a lot of people are watching and streaming things. Can you hear me now?
Great. Okay. So, yes. So, um,
So you were saying about how it is expanded. So you've got someone in Ireland that's offering it, and then are you working with somebody in Europe? I think that's where we'd got to, that the demand for your services was becoming quite
okay,
international.
fine. As long as you can hear me properly, that's okay. So yeah. So where did we? I can hear you properly.
You can. Good. Yeah. So you were saying about how the demand was getting quite high and you'd expanded into Ireland and Europe, and I think you were sort of building up your network of consultants.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and yeah, of course. And one of the things that we just decided to do was to launch the Sleep Consultant Academy. So it's a kind of with us. Yeah, let me see if I go somewhere else.
Okay, yeah, because it broke
See
up
if this
then.
helps at all. Yes. Can you hear me properly still? I'm trying to move into a different location to see if that helps
Yeah,
you.
I can hear you.
Is that better?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's better. That seems better, yeah. Oh, you're frozen again now. I don't know if I can just put some more information about the Sleep Consultant Academy in the comments if we lose Dani and if she doesn't come back. And then obviously if anyone's got any more questions, I'm sure she would be happy to give you more information.
Hello?
Oh, hi, yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Right. I'm hopefully just going to come back in. I was just wondering if you couldn't hear me if I took my camera off.
Yeah, it might be better
Would
if you take your
significantly
camera off.
less.
Yeah. All right, let me see if I can add you.
Is that better? And I was going to take my camera off.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
That's better. Okay, good, amazing. Okay, so yeah, so what I was saying is it kind of expanded, but we just realised that this industry is growing. And there's so much demand. And what there isn't is a real training school for budding sleep consultants.
Yeah.
You can go and do your accreditation, and there are services, mostly in the US. That's where most of the accreditations come from, to go and do that. But actually, what there isn't is someone that just holds your hand through the process.
Yeah.
So, as I said, we want it to be a regulated industry, and we are working, hopefully, with other professionals to achieve that, just like any kind of consulting would be.
Yeah.
So we work with the Open College Network, the OCN, to create a program, the training accreditation that is going to be as robust as it kind of could be under a qualification criteria. So that's amazing. So what you do is you come with us, you get your accreditation.
Yeah, because you've got two things, haven't you? You've got the accreditation, and then is there another package as well that you offer, the startup?
Yeah, so you can, just like kind of Chris did, you can get your accreditation for us, and even if we say so ourselves, we've packed it out, like there's loads in there. So that for some people that can be all that you need to do. That's what Chris did.
And then you would launch the business by yourself.
Launch it by yourself, yeah, absolutely.
And that's really affordable because it's only £399.
$399 for the accreditation, yeah, and you
which
get
I
a
think is
formal
really...
certificate. It says with the OCM, to achieve the level that we wanted it to be, it says 12 hours of study, but you can do it in about 10.
okay.
I think, yeah. So I mean,
it's
I know
self-paced.
Yeah, self-paced. So there's chapters. There's about 14 chapters, and you can dip in and out of them. Some of them are about 45 minutes, but others are going to be about 20 minutes. So you can manage it kind of, if you've got a nice big block of time, great. And if you've just got little, evenings here and there, you can work through it. And then the assessment at the end is open book. So you have all the information and the literature there to answer the questions. What we're looking for is for you to demonstrate understanding of the processes. So it's, I've said to people, don't worry if you're not particularly great at exams, as so many of us aren't. That it's an open book, so you go through, and you can just do that. Or we have kind of what we call the business course, really. So you would join us, and we teach you everything. So you do the accreditation just like you do, because you need that formal piece, and then you would join us. It's 3 days. It's spread over a kind of a 5-week time period.
Okay, and is that virtual or?
It's all virtual, yeah. We have played around with doing it in person, but you start to add a lot of cost in, don't you, when people have got to stay overnight, travel by train, and also there's a full day. There's one day that's 9 till 5, and then there's two days that are only 9 till 1, and then there's 6 2-hour sessions, and they're evening based.
Okay.
And the reason that we did that is one of them's a branding session, as an example. You come out of that session, we do exercises just like a branding consultancy would, that we've worked with branding consultancies, and the exercises they did with us to start to think about your colours, your name, your logo. You kind of come out of it with that, and then we do a marketing session, we do a social media session. That's the 2-hour sessions, and you just need a bit of space in between them. We could pack it into a couple of days, but it's nice to have some space, because you reflect on, okay, the branding stuff, and then when we go into it, then it's about building and targeting your ideal client. Well, you need a little bit of time to start to think about who that person is, building your brand, that kind of thing. So it's paced nicely, but it's not just about learning how to be a sleep consultant, how to build a sleep consultancy business. What we give you in the accreditation is the knowledge. However, we bring it to life in the course. So we actually give you client diaries, because you often get client to do a diary for a few days of their little one's behavior and patterns, and we do that in the session. You get a diary and you go through it with somebody else in the room, and work out what plan you might give them for a sleep consultant, what would happen, and then we kind of tell you kind of what's going on. So you just feel more equipped when you actually start working with a client, that you've almost done the process a couple of times with us, which is quite nice. We help you build products, that kind of thing. So it's very immersive.
Yeah. So it sounds like more that's like business coaching, really, with the sleep
Yeah, it
accreditation on
is.
top.
It's just, do you know how Chris tried to describe it? Because, it was him that kind of got a bit of blank paper and wrote a lot of it down. And he said, what would I have loved when I first started this business? It probably took me 18 months to get where I got to. I was at a point where I was comfortable and things were working. Can I give a lot of that to a person that it becomes 3 months? We want you to leave with a 3-month plan, knowing what you can do, what your options are, depending on the strategy that you want for your business. So I have some, it's mostly women, obviously. We have trained one other man, but it is often, people with caring responsibilities, or just somebody that's a completely different pace of life, work for themselves. But sometimes someone comes to me and said, do you know what? I'm looking to take on 1 or 2 a week. Now, you can charge anywhere between sort of £200 to £400 per client. So someone's saying, actually, I just want to bring sort of £600, £700, £800 in a week, and I work for 2 clients, and that's what I want. It's money for the family, and it's kind of that level of income, and that's amazing. Or there's people that turn up and say, I want this to be a 6-figure business, and I want kind of what you guys have from it's the Mummy and Daddy Sleep Consultant. I still refer to it as the Daddy Sleep Consultant, Mummy and Daddy Sleep Consultant. And the possibilities is endless. Most sleep consultants have wait lists. So it's just there's not enough really good people out there kind of ready to take on little ones.
And I suppose at that point, people are desperate. I feel, if your baby's not sleeping and you've not slept for months, you are desperate and you want somebody that can help you through that.
And there's a whole spectrum of sleep training. You can do things quicker, and with full transparency, there is more controlled crying where a little one is left in their sleep space. So our own private consultancy business, we don't do that. We're on the gentle end, and you have all these tools all the way through to the gentle end, where you're always kind of responsibly with the baby. It takes longer though. The slower you go, the more progressive you go, the longer your clients are with you. So there's space, but there is space for everything. If mental health's at play and you need quicker results, it might be better overall for the family that there are more periods of the little one. So there is a space for everything. And what you do, we always encourage our families, because we don't train just the gentle side, we train the whole spectrum so people can find their own space. And I say to them, what do you stand for? Because when someone wants to work with a person, this is quite an intimate process. You're helping their most precious possession, through sleep. And also you're sleep deprived and tired. So you're not bringing your best self as well. You're in a place where you need some support. Someone has to connect with you. You have to go on the journey with them, and you have to believe in it. So, I couldn't do a controlled crying approach because it's just not how I parent, and it's just not me. So I don't think they could buy into me helping them. But there are families that, can really help someone get where they need to be quicker. So I say to my people, find your space, and we build a brand around that, because, and then that's what people buy into.
So they're operating under their own brand. They're not
totally their own brand, yeah. So loads of our students, just because we are such a recognised brand, they do say trained by, the Mummy and Daddy Sleep Consultant, which we love. We're happy for people to have that. We interview everybody that comes onto our course, just because sometimes you meet someone, you just think you are going to be absolutely amazing, and at this, and then other times, I say to someone, it all depends. I kind of go all for all the facts, and we'll give very honest feedback of whether it might be the right time, just like kind of taking anyone on. So we always want to make sure that the people that kind of, if they want to use our brand, it's
a good fit for you both.
Yeah.
Okay. So I know you're doing the training now, but when you were doing the sleep consultancy itself, what's a typical day look like for a sleep consultant?
Oh yeah, we still have that. We'd never not do that. We have.
Brilliant! Yeah. So if you're for a day when you're just doing the sleep consultant, what's that day look like then?
So, and this all depends. So Chris and I's days will look different, because it depends how we like to work. So we split childcare. So you would typically, you're often meeting new people. So we have a process where people actually can book a free discovery call with us. So we would like to say whether we can definitely help them. So an email pops up saying somebody wants to speak to you. Time comes into the diary. You sit down, you connect, and have a chat. When they sign up, you would then spend a good hour with them later in the week to go through and really work on their personal little one. And then I support all of my clients by my phone, which is really nice. So I can be on the school run, and I voice note in my clients some support with, coming up bedtime, or something's just happening in a nap. Where Chris has a bit of a different approach. He is a bit more he has his hours, he likes to do them, so he'll have people scheduled, and he will respond to people at those times a bit more formally, and that's fine. Everybody has their different way. I just love the fluidity of being a mum to my 3 boys and working, so I'm fine. I don't mind being on the school run and leaving a voice note to a client.
You're like the work-life integrator, aren't you?
I'm the work-life integrator. Yeah. We're a bit more separated. Not that he does evenings, but he's kind of like, I can see he shifts a little bit. Like he's going into work mode. He's going to do a couple of hours this evening, blah, 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 because we've done something with the kids in the day. So and I think he likes to, mentalize, that the word a little more, where I just love. I've always, every job I've had, I've kind of like that. Like it just connects in. Even Saturday, we were watching a film, snuggled up, and my boys all snuggled in. We were, watching, finally getting some use out of Disney Plus, and I was sending a few messages, and I just thought, this is lovely, really.
Absolutely, yeah. So if someone's listening to this and thinks, it sounds really interesting about being a sleep consultant, what would you say to somebody potentially interested in running their own sleep consultancy business?
If you are minded to work flexibly, but aren't daunted by going it alone, because that's what it is. You are taking a step into the unknown. We've created this program that's very supportive to help people through that. One of the really lovely things that our cohort, you can see all the reviews on our website, when you start, and it's anything between 8 to 10, we do 4 a year. Next one's in February, the one after will be June, we take the family, the cohort of anything from sort of 8 to 10, and then we create a WhatsApp group. And what's really nice is from then on, they're just like your friends. So sometimes, I said I'd duck out of them because I didn't want loads of groups, group chats going on my phone. And, I've stayed in them because sometimes they'll say, oh, I've got this little baby that's doing something. And all of them, everyone else is saying, oh, this is what I would do. I've had this. Don't worry. This is what I did. And this is what I approach. And even if they say, oh, gosh, that's a tricky one, we've not even come across that, they all chip in of what they would do. It's really supportive. And even the other day, one of the girls, a family she worked with, recommended to their friend, but they thought they were local, and actually this client had been supported virtually. And she was like, don't worry, I'm not based in Yorkshire, but I know someone that's based in Yorkshire. So they refer clients because, one of the cohort was based there, and does offer in home. And so they're actually passing clients, which is exactly what we wanted. It's what Chris wished he had when he first started.
Yeah. So you're looking for people that want to become sleep consultants nationwide?
Yeah, definitely globally. So the accreditation is global. So we had someone in Australia. That's our furthest afield. I don't think you can get any further afield, can you? But yeah, we've had someone in Australia. And the nice thing is, if you can't do all the sessions. So one's on a Friday, then we have the 2 weekend mornings, and then there's evening sessions. If you can't make one, they're recorded.
Yep.
So you can follow back. So our Australian person couldn't do the last few hours of the long day, because it's their night time. It's all recorded, so you can catch up.
Brilliant. Oh, so where can people find you, connect with you, and learn more about the Sleep Consultant Academy?
Yes, so over at our website, so the sleepconsultantacademy.com, we do free discovery calls. So you can put 30 minutes in with me to talk through what this would look like for yourself. I answer, people have loads of, questions around kind of what their earning potential is, what it could look like, how long do they get clients, all that kind of thing. I'm happy to answer everything. I like everyone to go in kind of completely eyes open. So that's a nice way you can book some time with me. And there's loads of stuff on the website. We've also got an Instagram page, or come and follow us at the Mummy and Daddy Sleep Consultant. We're that's our kind of big social profile on there, kind of seeing what we do as a sleep consultant every day.
Brilliant. Oh, well, thank you so much for your time today, Dani. It's been an absolute pleasure to find out more about you and the Sleep Consultant Academy, and also chat about baby sleep as well. So thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you. And I'll just come on. Hopefully I can actually say goodbye properly in person.
Yeah, thank you.
And apologies, I don't know what has gone on with our internet, because I always say to people, you don't need anything to start the Sleep Consultant Academy apart from internet access.
Oh, I think it's sometimes when it's like a busy time if everyone's on Netflix or whatever.
Yeah, that's right.
The nation's on Netflix. But yeah, thank you. And thank you for everyone that's watched today, and everyone wrote comments and shared their experiences. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Liz. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.